Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another deck profile from Clan Selection 2, and it's Genesis. So this is a deck from my friend. He let me borrow it to have some fun. And of course this deck, if you are the player, you will feel fun. If you play against it, you probably will have a hard time. At least when I face against it, I feel kind of depressed because when I'm using like some slow decks that requires you to get up to grade 3 to do something, or at least wait for a turn to do something else, this deck will give you a very hard time. And once we go through the content, you'll see why that is the case. So let's go into deeper on the content. First, we have for Angelica. Angelica is the new card of the set, and she really makes the whole game plan very different right now. So her skill is with the oil gauges, oil regards with gauges, which I think is called Divine Gauge, will not be able to select it by opponent's card effects and get 5k. So you can get yourself away from retiring, from binding, and a lot of things, and they also get 5k, and it's a permanent skill. So just having her there can make your regards like having a kind of protect 2 without the shield plus. So very strong. And second skill is when she attacks as a Vanguard, you can choose up to 2 of your regards, and from your soul you can put up to 1 card from your soul into as Divine Gauge to those regards, 1 each. So maximum you can, just by attacking, you can put 2 souls into 2 separate regards, 1 each as Divine Gauge, and then now they cannot be selected by effects and they get 5k plus. Yeah, so again, very helpful, and the 5k is really matters. And since we don't always get to protect our units if we don't have the units that give effects to the gauges, so this is very strong. The last skill is something that you probably won't require that much, but something that you can do is when your opponent's turn ends, by discarding 5 of your Divine Gauges, you heal 1 damage. But usually you will just keep the Divine Gauges on the regards, or you already used them. So I don't see my friend actually use this skill at all, but it's a good to have. Like if you're on 5 and you want some kind of space for next turn, then you can do that. But if not, just let it there as a backup, because you don't actually need that skill, but it's a good plus. Next, 4 of the Sea or Eager Seal. This is still a very strong card. At first, when I faced this deck, I was thinking, is it a must to have her on the field? But after I read her effects again carefully, you do. So her first skill is to give your regards with Divine Gauge boost. That is important. And if this card is on Vanguard Circle, then during your opponent's turn, those regards will not be affected by opponent's card effects. So, in the past, without Angelica, the issue with this deck is, yes, you can build your some of your gauges, but as long as your Vanguard is not one of the Regalia, you basically can protect them. Because if you place this on the Regal Circle, yes, they still gain boost, but they don't have the protection. But now you have 2 options to give your Regal's protection, then they probably are fine. And also, she got a second skill to search for a non and call the Regal Circle, which is very important to the deck. And then you can then give some Divine Gauges from Soul, up to 2, similar to Angelica. So again, very strong, but you only need 1 of her on the field, and her active skill can be used every single turn. So like, as long as your deck still have non, you can still find her out without issue. and that will start all your engine, your combos, once you get both of them on the field. Then, entering grade 2s, we first have our greatest beatstick, Artemis. In the past, Artemis is more like a fun play element because you don't get to put divine gauges that much, and then after that you probably won't be able to do a lot of stuff. And without CEO there, you don't have protection, but now since you have protection and +5, she becomes a lot more useful. Her first skill is when she attack hits, you can basically choose one of your soul to put it as a divine gauge, so she can get more gauges, and for each divine gauge she has, she will get 10k. Both are Regard skill, so you don't want to ride her as Vanguard, and when you have her as a Regard, which is quite easy to get divine gauges and pump her to at least 20k, and with Angelica can be 25k, which is very, very strong, and both of them are permanent skill. Yeah, so as long as you have one gauge, you have Angelica, it is a 25k by herself, which makes you easier to choose without Force 1, go to Force 2, and just simply keep swinging for high numbers with crit, which is very, very scary. Okay, and then next we do have other new support, which is Flood. So her skill is when she appears on a Regalia circle, then you can add a divine gauge from your soul to this unit if you want to, which will then get the 5k and the protection. And when she attacks or boost battle ends by moving up to more than one or more divine gauges, but you have to move all of them at the same time. You choose to use the skill to another Regard, then you put this unit in your soul and draw one. Once you put that in your soul, you can just use these skills to put her to other units as divine gauge, and she basically just get one and pass, like Spike Brothers passing markers or anything to something useful, which will probably be your Artemis. Then she can simply be a at least 20k, 30k, and so on, so on, so on. Also, another target that you can pass your gauges to is None. None is a very key combo if you already play with a CEO. So her second skill, when boosting a Regalia unit, battle ends by discarding a card and discarding one of the divine gauge under this unit. The boosted unit will stand, and during your turn it will get +10k and -1 drive. So your Angelica can simply just hit 2 times, and even if you boost with your Artemis, it can, with Force 2, it can still be very, very scary. And also she can simply just use her active skill to counterblast 1, draw 1, get to draw 1, and give one of your Regards a divine gauge, and if you do, you soul charge 2, so it's not that easy to run out of soul as well. Yeah, so next, entering grade 1s, enter the new card for so her skill is when she attack or boost, then you can give her a divine gauge from her soul, and then active skill to discard one of your divine gauge under this unit. Soul charge 3, so there's soul charge a lot. And if you have a Regalia Vanguard, which you likely will have, then by retiring this unit you can counter charge 1, so you don't even need to worry about using too much counter blast, because this uses counter blast, this also uses counter blast, and so far that's probably it. But if you need, because you might do this quite a few times, if you have multiple of her, then, or your opponent is trying to damage the ally user, you don't have that much to use, then she will be very, very useful. And from here, it's more like a toolbox. We have a Hati for the soul charge, then we have this little comets for another kind of soul charge. Also gets to pump your Vanguard by 5k if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. So more easier for you to go for Force 2, because 13k and 18k is completely different numbers. And then we also have a skull for grade research, but this and this is probably something that you can adjust yourself. Nothing very like fixed in number, but the key is her. And then if you want some great researcher, you can put more. If you like this lineup with more soul charging, you can go for that as well. And for triggers, extremely simple. 8 crit, 4 draw PGs, and 4 heals, because you want to basically win on your first ride or second ride. So as much crit you have, the better. But you still want some draw power so you won't run out of resources. Even though your CEO Yggdrasil can help you find it on, but you first need to get her, right? And PG is somehow more safe than 30k shield, because you do want to take a lot of hits, so you do have counterblast to use. Then you do want to be able to protect yourself from a very big hit one-shot attack. Then a PG is a better option. Yeah, so that's basically the content, and let's go into some ride options and some combos you can do with this deck, which will be quite simple. See you in a bit. Okay, so first ride, you can you probably will want to ride her because it's a Regalia skill. Hati, you can do it for soul charge. This you can do a hand switch. This you can do a great research. So basically your toolbox is your great one, right? And you want to have her on Regalia circle so you can try to get yourself some gauges. And since these will have your soul charges, so it will be easy for you to do some next plays. And once you enter grade 2, what you most likely prefer is this one. The reason is for her active skill to be very strong when you combo her with the Artemis. So what you do is, you of course you first ride her, call yourself Artemis, counterblast 1, draw yourself a card, and basically just give her engage. Which now she is a 20k already, and it's quite hard for your opponents to guard if they are on grade 1 or grade 2, because most likely they're only on 10, and they at least need to drop 15k shield from it. And this just 10 is still very, very scary, because we are running 8 crit. So if we hit a crit here, we can pump her to 30k, and that attack will probably hard to guard. If they guarded this, it's still like a 30k with crit attack if you pull a crit trigger, which is kind of scary. And from there you probably can push like 2 to 3 damage a turn already, which is kind of easy. And then next, both works, but if you ask me, I probably will prefer to ride Angelica and have Yggdrasil somewhere. And of course, you will need to try hard to find your Yggdrasil so that you can find your boost, and she can just basically stay behind if you can give her a gauge. And then after that, search yourself for another one on the Vanguard circle, so you can swing 2 times, and then you might have this to pump your Vanguard another 10k. And what's left, it doesn't really matter. Maybe this again. What marker you take will be Force 2, and you probably put it here because your Vanguard will swing 2 times, and you probably can get something there. And without a Force 2, your opponents is easier to take the hit, so most likely you will put it here. And then when she attacks, you can basically just starting to pause, and like for this you already put one here, and this, if you call by this, you already give her one. This will help you soul charge 2, whatever that is. And when you attack, you can simply already pass 2 gauges like this. Let me confirm again, read again. Yep, it didn't say something without the gauge, so doesn't matter. There we go. And boost, which is already 23k in it. And if this applies, it's already 28k, and you do your chain drive. And after that, you ditch the gauge, stand her, still 28, and you can swing again. And then this swing, move these gauges here, and go to soul. And then from here, what she base is already 10, 20, 30, 40, 48. If you got trigger 58, if you got double trigger 68, which is kind of scary, quite scary. And she will just keep her gauges that long before she get killed somehow. But once you get like 2 or 3 gauges under her, I think it's pretty hard to kill. So if you play against this deck, she is always your target to get rid of if you can. If not, just try to finish the game faster than they do if you can. Yeah, so that's basically how the deck runs, and every single turn you just kind of repeating to soul charge so that you can put gauges under her and keep feeding her, or like if this requires gauges, you give her and just do the same swing again and again until you win. Yeah, so that's basically the deck profile. Kind of easy, straightforward. You don't need to think too much, but you do need to plan your attacks pretty well. And if you got a god hand, then basically just almost autopilot deck. Yeah, but it's fun to play with, not fun to play against. That's my true comment. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do you use other options, for example the Great One toolbox? You might have your own combination, and just see what you like, and feel free to comment down below, let me know, so maybe I can also pass to my friend and see if he likes it or not. Maybe he will also get some updates from there. Yeah, so thanks for watching guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.